What's up, everyone? Welcome to the most positive pop culture podcast in the multiverse, Metalcore Nerds, the podcast that features members of your favorite bands as we explore their love of pop culture. I'm your host, Shawn Spann, and this week I'm joined by Shawn of I the Breather. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Very stoked to have you here. I feel like this is, we were talking about this before we hit record. I feel like it's been in the works for a while, I think. I don't know. Or maybe we've just been talking back and forth on the internet for far too long. And
Yeah,
this
I'm pretty
just finally
sure.
needed to happen.
I'm pretty sure like my last message to you was like from years ago, about probably doing something. So it's like we were saying, when it's meant to be, it's gonna work out.
Yeah, it all happened at the right time, I think. But
Yeah.
I'm glad it's happening now. I'm excited to dive into your love of pop culture. Very, very excited for it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Now, whether you return to the show or first time listener, thank you so much for tuning in. Best way to support the show. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, comment, let us know what you're currently watching, what are you into, what you think of the episode. And if you're listening to this, subscribe there on your favorite podcasting platform, leave us a 5-star review. Helps the podcast continue to grow and helps more people find the show. And if you want to really fix Metalcore Nerds, you can find us on all social media at Metalcore Nerds. I do want to ask you one music question, Shawn. I the Breather's doing stuff. You're back doing the thing again. I want to know 4 bands you would love to share the stage with. Now that that's possible.
I'm really into what Invent Animate's got going on right now. They've got a really cool vibe to them. And I got to see them with the next band I'm gonna mention, Era, who our old bass player plays bass for Era now. So we also toured with Era like way back in the day, right before the singer switch, I believe it was.
Oh, before JT was in the band?
Yeah. It's funny because like I grew up with JT. Like JT used to come to like the local shows and stuff in Baltimore. So I have deep history with him, and obviously deep history with Connor too. My next one is pure nostalgia, and like will be like a dream. It's a band called It Dies Today. They just were one of my heavy hitters growing up, and Nick is an awesome dude. I've talked to him about possibly doing some stuff with Breather, and like we'll see if that like comes to fruition, because it'd be a dream come true for me. That band really got me into like the heavy stuff when I was like kind of figuring out my musical direction, I guess my brain was going to go. And my next is my personal favorite that is out currently, a band called House of Protection.
Oh,
absolutely sick band. Not quite the same genre of us, but I don't care. I would just love to share the stage with them. What they've got going is just like sick. It's very unique and dynamic, and they're kind of shying away from what everybody else is doing right now, which is I really dig.
That's awesome. Shout out It Dies Today, and especially Nick, friend of the show. He was on the show like a year ago, I think. At this point.
I have to check that episode.
Yeah. Super awesome guy. I'm sure I'll see him this weekend. His other band, which also features members of It Dies Today, Frozen Ground, is playing one of the Blissmas pre-shows. My wife and I will be at Blissmas all weekend. By the time you've heard this, maybe we saw each other at Blissmas. Maybe. Probably. A lot of people, a lot of stuff going on at one time, but
yeah,
very, very stoked for that. It's become our new like December tradition now. Love Bear Lovers, and they always put on an insane lineup. Like this year it's Glassjaw, Saves the Day, Haywire, Terror, Johnny Booth. It's like fucking crazy. So
that's a wild show, dude.
That's not even all the bands. There's more bands. It's in Buffalo.
Yeah. Which venue are they?
The main show is at Riverworks, which
is okay.
Big,
I'm not familiar with that
big venue. It's like 3,500 people. Last year they did like a little over 3,000, I think.
Jeez.
Insane. Yeah.
That band really took off, man.
Yeah, instantly. Yeah.
I mean, look at the lineup, like
I know.
It's
when you come out swinging like that, that's what happens.
Honestly, I mean,
moving into pop culture stuff, I like to start off the episodes with how my guests got into pop culture. So what made you fall in love with TV, movies, video games as you were growing up, or if it happened later in life? Like, what was the thing that got you into this stuff?
When I was younger, I would do this thing where I'd like find a movie and like I would just watch it relentlessly. And I have like a couple in here that were like pivotal to my growing up. One is like a staple, The Sandlot. I've recently introduced my kids to Sandlot. We drive to Idaho a lot to see my parents, and I've introduced them to, like, Sandlot, Three Ninjas. So I'm trying to get them into, like, this is what movies should be like, you know? But then there was Little Monsters. I don't know if you ever saw that one.
Yes, yes, yes. When I was younger, for sure.
Such a good one. Michael Jackson's Moonwalker may have been
Wow.
a reason why I ended up a musician, because
Okay.
Michael Jackson back then was, like, iconic, you know? Of course, Ninja Turtles and Home Alone. Nothing, like, too wild or out of the ordinary, but I pretty sure I destroyed all those VHSs until they just, like, wouldn't work anymore.
That's awesome. I kind of miss, like, I remember always firing up the VCR player and falling asleep to a movie.
Remember back in the day, I think before there was, like, remotes, you had to, like, turn a dial to turn it on,
Yep.
and it had
Mhm.
that noise. It was like, "Boing."
Yep. Yep,
Like,
yep, yep.
yeah, dude, that's just crazy, how far we've come, honestly.
Yeah, it's
What did
wild.
I watch recently? Anaconda, and I was talking to my girlfriend. I was like, "This looked incredibly horrible back in the day, but now the fact that we're watching this on the 75-inch, like, QLED, I don't even want to know how horrible these graphics are gonna be." And then when the snake came on, I was just like, "Oh, that's like next level horrible."
Yeah. It is wild sometimes revisiting things and then being like, "Wow.
Yeah, we thought this was sick.
Wow. That is not how I remembered it when I was younger. Wow." I
Yeah,
mean, but that's nostalgia for you. Like, it can be good and bad. You know, it's
yeah,
not always a good thing. It's not always a bad thing. It can be either. It can be in between. But that's the love of it. There is, like, I do have a VHS that, like, or VCR that works, but I've never really used it. The only time we used it was my wife found some, like, old, like, home videos of herself, and we watched those, and that was really funny. But I
very
have been,
cool.
like, collecting, like, old VHS, like thrift store finds, or there's a lot of really cool companies that are making VHS of new movies. Like, they'll make their own custom VHS style cover and everything, and those are really cool. So I'll buy some of those sometimes, but I don't like to fall too deep into those holes because sometimes you never come back. So I try to be
Yeah.
pretty restrained about it.
Yeah, and then, like, 5 years from now, you're like, "I look like a hoarder." There's just, like,
I
all this
know.
stuff everywhere.
I know. Yeah. So I try to keep it contained and nice. So it's like, oh, it's a couple few display pieces and it's cool and it's fun. But other
Yeah.
than that, I like to keep it pretty dialed in before it becomes a problem.
You had also mentioned, video games and stuff in the pop culture. That also for me was, like, massive growing up. Remember me and my brother got, like, a PlayStation 1. Every year, we would kinda get, like, a combined gift. The biggest memory, which is so weird to even think about, the biggest memory I have with PlayStation 1 is that I would go to the grocery store with my mom only because I knew that if I went to the magazine section, there was gonna be, like, a demo disc inside of, like, the video game magazines.
Yes.
I was a fucking thief, dude. Like, I'm like,
You stole them?
10 years old, you're just ripping off the plastic just to get the demo disc for the magazine, just so I could take it home and just play, like, a random demo, dude. Dude, I never got caught, so I
Do you
I
remember what
don't
demos you stole?
I'm pretty sure every single one that there ever was, dude. I couldn't
That's
even
so
tell you
insane.
what games I remember playing on. That's, like, how much it was a weekly thing, my mom's going to the grocery store, like, every Sunday or something, and it's not like they didn't know what's going on. Like, nobody's buying me these demo discs. They're just showing up, you know? So,
Right.
thanks, mom, for letting me be a little criminal when I was little.
Have you ever talked to her about it, like, in your adult years? Be like, hey, you remember when I had all those demos? Like, I stole those. Did you ever have one of those?
Honestly, up until, like, we were talking about doing this, I really forgot about it. Maybe,
That's
like, the
wild.
next, over Christmas dinner, like, I'll dig into it. "Mom, I really could have gotten down a bad road learning slick ways of stealing demo discs that were, free, but you had to buy the magazine to get it." All those poor people that probably would, like, get that magazine for the demo disc and then didn't because it was gone.
Ruin their days,
Sorry.
dude.
If you if you were one of those culprits in Baltimore that were going there to buy it, I'm sorry, apologize. Dude, what a time, man. Like, both of you and I are pretty lucky to have like the 90s. I don't think there's ever going to be a time period like the 90s again because there was so much new things.
It's very hard to get like things that feel new nowadays. It happens every once in a while. We're like, wow, like I really have nothing to compare that to.
Yeah,
But it's also
exactly.
kind of basked in something that's similar at the same time. There's like we're probably never going to get anything like DVDs again or something, like or
Yeah.
CDs. Like we were there for like the birth of those eras. Like we literally grew up in those eras, being like, oh yeah, we don't have to have this cartridge anymore. It's a disc. Like I doubt now there's just no discs, which which it's like a gift and a curse. Like I love physical media. I try to collect stuff when I can. Like I said, I like moderation. I don't like going
Yeah.
overboard. But I know people have crazy physical media collections, and that's awesome. I love that. But it's like weird that everything is, just kind of at your fingertips. Like I had
Yeah.
Shane from Slorsey on, he's like, dude, he's like, think about it. Even when like not even when we were growing up, but like when our parents were growing up, like the only time they could see a movie was in a theater. It would play in a theater for like ever. But then it's like, when's the next time you saw that movie? Like
Mm-hmm.
years from then or something, like that's crazy. It's like you can rent a movie at home a month after it comes out in theaters now.
Or same day sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes the month is kind of like the new standard. The accessibility we have to content now is wild. So even compared to the 90s, it was the same thing. It was like we'd wait to it came to like Blockbuster or you could buy it. And that was like 6 months after the movie came out. At least,
Blockbuster. Dude.
it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Where did they send out like a monthly TV guide where like
Yeah.
it showed you everything that was going to be on?
Yeah.
That's
Like what channel and everything. Yeah. And it would be
Yeah.
for like a month, I think. I think the TV guides came out. It was either weekly or monthly.
Dude, we had
It's
TV
nuts.
guides. We had phone books.
I remember phone books.
The yellow
Definitely
page, white
remember phone
page.
books.
You could find anybody's number.
An address.
Oh, that's so crazy.
Yeah.
Simpler times, dude.
I know. It's wild, dude.
Could
And
you
that's only
imagine
us.
that?
Like it was even crazier when our parents were growing up, Like
Yeah.
the accessibility has only gotten higher and higher as things have gone along. But speaking of accessibility and massive amounts of content, what are some things you've been enjoying recently?
Kind of recently, I introduced my girlfriend to Lost. So,
Let's go. I watched that for the
yeah,
first time this year.
dude, an
Whole thing.
amazing masterpiece. Back then, dude, it was like 18 episodes a season. They're like all an hour long, and then
Oh,
other
yeah.
stuff started coming out, and we kind of have like diverted away from it for the time being. So we'll get back into it, but it's really cool. Because she's always like, "What's gonna happen?" I'm like, "I don't know." Like, I watched this 10 years ago, and my
Right.
mind was blown then, and it's still blown now. So, like, I'm not gonna be able to dump information on you because even if I tell you, it's not gonna make sense in the next episode
No,
anyway,
not at all.
Um, but we also have dove into Annihilation. We are
Okay.
kind of behind on that one. I recently got into Severance. I finished the first season on that one. Trying to catch up with her because she's on season 2. My favorite of the year is a TV show called Paradise.
Loved Paradise.
Brother,
Wild pilot.
blew my mind.
Wild pilot.
We're huge fans of From. I'm not sure if you got into From.
That's the one I haven't got into, but everyone's like, dude, if I know something you would like, it's From.
Dude,
I'm like,
I am telling you, if you have like a weekend to binge and catch up, you're gonna be like, what did I do? Like, why did I not watch this? And like we're on season 3, and I still kind of am like, what the fuck is going on? Like,
I think that's some of the people from Lost that made that show. I think not Damon Lindelof, but I think some of the other people who worked on it.
Yeah, it makes sense because you're just like, what the hell? After every episode, Fallout. I can't wait for the new Fallout, dude. From Lost and Stranger Things are like the priority tier right now for stuff coming out because once Stranger Thing ends, then Fallout releases. I'm so beyond excited for like the New Vegas kind of coming to fruition and Fallout. That's gonna be cool. it looks like there's going to be a little bit more action this season, which I'm fine with. The character building, they did really well in the first season, but then next year, pretty early on, we should be getting new From. So now's a good time for you to like really dig in and see if
I
you like
know.
that, because you don't have to wait around like the rest of us have been waiting since the last season ended.
Yeah, I felt that with Severance because I was like a Severance day one guy.
Yeah.
And then so many people got into it like leading up to season 2 or when season 2 came out because the hype of season 2 was so massive. And people were like, "How did you wait that long on that cliffhanger?" And I'm like, "I just did. I had no choice." Like, what do you mean? Like, what do you want me to do? It is crazy because you'll see season 2 ends on a cliffhanger too. That's also frustrating in a different way. You'll see when you get there. But
Okay.
I saw the whole season early
Yeah.
and I was talking like I think that is the show I've talked to the most with people in real life. Like people and like friends at the coffee shop or wherever, like everyone was talking to Severance with me to the point where my wife's like, I don't ever want to watch Severance because I've heard you talk about it so much. I don't even care about it. And I'm like, that's fair. After the finale ended, they're like, you knew it was gonna happen. And you never gave me any inkling of what was gonna happen. I don't know how you did that, but thank you. And I'm like, I'm not gonna ruin it for you. Like I was very careful to like ask where they were to like and that was a show, and I do this very rarely when I watch screeners for something weekly. I would watch it again. I would watch the episode coming out again.
Yeah.
I've been doing the same thing with Pluribus. If you like Severance and you like shows where you don't know what the fuck's going on, Pluribus is definitely one too. It's Vince Gilligan who did Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, but this is a
Okay.
very much tonally it feels like Severance, where it's it's very sci-fi but kind of rooted in normal life in a way. It's great. I don't even want to tell you anything about it because the marketing for it was very vague of what the show was. So I think it's the best if you go in blind and just let the pilot happen and you're like, okay, you're either there for it or you aren't. Same thing
Yeah.
kind of with like Paradise, where it's like starts as one show and then by the end of the first episode, it's a very different show than what you imagined it would be. Very similar to that, where you're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, wow. And Paradise season 2 comes out in February. So that's also right off the jump.
Wait,
Like,
what?
yeah, yeah. They
Paradise?
filmed it like right after it started coming out. They started filming again. It got renewed for season 2, and they got like right to it to
Like
not waste any time.
immediately.
Yeah. So I'm very, very
Dude.
stoked. It's
I
awesome.
There was another show or movie that we watched recently. Maybe it was a movie where it's got like the nuclear weapons and they don't know like where it came from.
House of Dynamite.
Yes.
The movie was wild.
That was crazy too. Was it a movie?
Yeah, that was a movie. I finished this game. It's weird to call it a game because it's a lot different than most games. It's called Dispatch. It's kind of like the Telltale games where it's like you make choices and the choices impact the story that happens.
Yeah.
It's you're not really playing much other than making choices,
Yeah.
but it feels a lot like Invincible, where it's like an adult animated superhero show. The main character is kind of like an Iron Man type, but not. The only thing that's similar of Iron Man is he doesn't have any powers. He just has a suit, but his personality and stuff is very different from Iron Man. That's just the easiest comparison to
Mm-hmm.
that. And it starts off, something happens. He can't be a hero for a while, so he gets hired by pretty much this massive superhero like corporation as like a dispatcher. So he has this team and they're a bunch of villains who are being reformed as heroes. And your job is, and you actually do the dispatching, like a call will come in and it's like, here's the problem, and you have to pick the right heroes to send out to solve the problem. And then it shows you if you succeed or fail, and that affects everything that happens. And it's really fucking dope. The story is awesome, and it's episodic. Like it ends in an episode, has credits, you go on to the next episode. It
What?
is really rad. I have never played anything like it in my life. You've probably seen stuff from it online, but I had a few friends talk about it and I was like, I've been seeing that everywhere. Like, what is that? At first, I thought it was just like an animated show somewhere.
Yeah.
But no, it's a video game. And Aaron Paul
Huh.
voices the main guy. Jeffrey Wright voices someone in it. Critical Role had like a part in it, and some of the people from Critical Role voice characters in the game as well. It's awesome. It's like if you have any major platform, it's like $30. Super
Mhm.
easy. The story is awesome, and I want to go and replay it because you get different outcomes for different choices you make. So I want to go and like make all the opposite choices I made to see how the story plays out that way. But I really hope they make like like a second season or whatever, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how they would do that, seeing as like the endings are different, but I'm sure they could figure out a way. But I really hope they make more of it. It's such a cool game and such a cool concept, and it's like really good story. I had Mike Terry on the podcast from Volumes and Fire of the Gods last week, and he's
Yeah.
talking about the show The Beast in Me that's on Netflix.
I've been hearing about
And
that.
yeah, it was so funny because I was like, dude, every time I go into Netflix, it's right there, and
Yeah.
I just don't watch it. And
Yeah.
he's like, you gotta watch it. Like all the shows we were talking about, he's like, oh yeah, if you like this stuff, you'll love this show. And it's so good. It's kind of just like a thriller, like a drama thriller. The basic premise that you follow this book writer who is in a place in her life of like loss. Now, do you want to elaborate on the loss? And then a new neighbor moves in, and he's from this very powerful family. It's been like rumored that his wife like went missing years ago, and a lot of people think he killed her, and they just made her go missing because he's so rich and powerful. And all this stuff starts happening, and is really kind of this massive like introspective look at like the darker side of humanity and how sometimes it gets let out. It's a very wild watch because there's a lot of like, thriller shows you watch and they all kind of can feel the same sometimes. And this one is like this, as soon as you start watching, you're like, huh, this feels very different than normal. I was like even explaining the premise to one of my friends who like watches a lot of TV and movies, and we talk about it like daily. And he's like, wow, that sounds super like just not normal. And I'm like, yeah, I was like, it's very intriguing. And it's like, like I posted this about on Facebook, like a lot of people gave Adolescence a lot of love this year from Netflix for being, like a great limited series. And I think it is a great limited series. It just didn't affect me like it did some people. I think The Beast in Me is like the one limited series from Netflix people should be talking about. It's really good. Really,
it sounds awesome. It kind of sounds like it would remind me of, what is that one show where like all the neighbors are in on it and like the family doesn't understand that like all the neighbors are like I don't know if it's like a cult or something.
Was it
There's
like that Perfect Stranger one or something?
Maybe. I don't know. It's like all this weird stuff going on, and eventually like they run to like the lady across the street, but she's like part of it, and I forget what it's called.
That does sound a little similar in ways, for sure. It's pretty wild. And I kind of love something that shows like, because we're seeing it in real life now, like how money and power can hide things. I buy into this harder because we know about it now. We know about these things happening in real life, like whether it's like the Trump stuff or the Vince McMahon stuff or whatever, like we hear about it and we're like, oh, wow, that's fucked up. So it's like, it's kind of cool to see it in like media, or at least like be amplified a little bit. And then I watched 2 movies, both I think accomplished similar things. I think one did it better than the other, but one was called A Big Bold Beautiful Journey. It stars Margot Robbie and Colin Farrell, and I feel like no one talked about this movie, which is crazy because it has like 2 of the biggest like movie stars like out now in it. Two of like the best actors there are, like award-winning actors, and that movie is really cool. But I feel like it's just the landing felt too not. I think easy might be the word. Basically, these 2 meet by happenstance at a wedding. I like a lot of stuff in this movie. They go through this weird rental car company that has a GPS that talks to you, and it leads them to these places where there's doors. You go through the door, and it makes you relive a memory. And basically, these 2 people relive all these memories of kind of trying to get them to figure out like their past mistakes or faults or insecurities and like work through them together, like they're meant to be together or something. And a lot of it was like really cool. Like in the first 15 minutes, I was like, I think this movie is going to wreck me. And then by the end, I was like, oh, that was cool, but it didn't wreck me. And that's a big tell for me. Like that can take a movie from like good to great for me, but it's not like the ending was bad. I just like, it felt like almost like a rush to the finish line a little. I felt like there could have been some meat in the middle there, but it's like shot beautifully. It's like really vibrant, and like, the way they go through things, I think is really cool and inventive, but it didn't stick to the landing. But then it's just like a movie that makes you rethink your past and, all the relationships you go through and with your parents or with other people or whatever. And then I watched this movie, Jay Kelly, that's also on Netflix. Stars George Clooney and Adam Sandler. It's not a comedy. George Clooney plays this actor He's a very famous actor. He's so famous that he's kind of realizing in his life, did I kind of forego everything else in life to be famous? Relationships with his kids, his past marriages, even the people on his team. Adam Sandler plays his manager in the movie. Laura Dern plays his publicist in the movie. And it's like a very, very just like super deep, thought-provoking movie about life. And I say this about like actors all the time, or even like famous people. When people are like, I don't like that person. And I'm like, that's so weird to say because we don't know these people.
Yeah.
We may know them from interviews or whatever, but like we're not friends with these people. We don't get what their life is like. And I feel like that's such like a big thing that like people don't think about, is that like, yes, they have this crazy life, but they don't live a normal life. You know what I mean? Like, and that has its pluses and minuses for sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure it can feel very isolating, and you know, like they can't go to a grocery store. You know, they can't do normal things. And like, even though yes, they're famous and they have this crazy life, like I'm sure they miss like weird things like that they just can't do anymore.
Just
So it's
normalcy.
yeah, and I think it's like a good thing to like watch that and realize that, but it's also a good thing to like appreciate the stuff that's right in front of you rather than putting it all to the side to achieve one goal. This movie, by the end, I was like, wow, this got me. This is really, really good. It was co-written and directed by Noah Baumbach, who is married to Greta Gerwig, and he's done like Marriage Story, and he's written a lot of Greta Gerwig's movies. Great filmmaker and writer. And I'm pretty positive Greta Gerwig plays Adam Sandler's wife in the movie, which is funny because she used to be an actor. She used to act in a ton of things. And I was like, I think that's
funny.
Greta Gerwig. But to see her after like, you know, like all the Barbie stuff to act in another movie, I was like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I like that. Those are the big things I've been watching. But I wanted to say for last, because when Shawn approached me to do this, he's like, oh, okay, we can talk about Stranger Things. So I wanted to kind of end and talk about the new first volume of Stranger Things season 5. So if you haven't watched Stranger Things season 5, we will likely spoil things.
Yeah.
So be aware of that. be aware of that. So I have talked about this in the podcast the last few weeks. I did a big rewatch for season 5. So everything is pretty fresh in my brain from that rewatch. And it was a very rewarding rewatch for me. I feel like so many people kind of forgot or missed it just because of the way the show is released. First few seasons it wasn't that long of a wait between seasons, but you know, between 3 and 4 and 4 and 5, you know, that's a 6-year gap between all 3 of those seasons. It's a pretty long time. I think a lot of people probably missed some little nods or character growth or whatever. I'm so glad to rewatch before watching this. It's made me appreciate it so much, but it's also made me have this kind of weird relationship with watching things. I just want more Stranger Things. Just like when I finished my rewatch, I was like sad. I was like, man, I'm like bummed. Like I loved rewatching it and it was awesome. I'm like bummed. And then when we watched all of volume 1 of the new season, I was like, hell yeah. And then I was like, I'm bummed. I want more Stranger Things.
I feel like volume 1 is kind of a little just like the build up to the actual fucking story. Is Will a fucking demigorgon or some shit? What did Vecna turn Will into?
He didn't make him anything. The way they kind of explained it, but I listened to an interview where the Duffers like elaborated on it further. So him being able to like kind of locate the hive mind because of his connection to it. So he is connected to the hive mind as a whole. So he doesn't have powers himself. He can tap into the hive mind and use those powers. But him accepting himself as like, they haven't come out and flat out said it, but you know, he's gay. Him accepting himself and not needing kind of like his feelings reciprocated from Mike. Him accepting himself just as a queer person and being like that is enough to be okay. Is like what let him tap into this hive mind and access those powers. So his powers will dictate the power level dependent on how close he is to the hive mind. So if he's like, and it also makes sense of season 4. It's like, of course he didn't feel Vecna or anything. He was on the other side of the country. So that's why nothing was happening. As soon as he got back into Hawkins, he could feel Vecna again.
Yeah.
Because that connection to the hive mind. I do think they'll might explain further like how that connection works maybe, or what it means. That's the thing I like about that interaction with him and Vecna, is that he's like, yeah, you mean nothing, like you'll never do anything to me. And that's his hubris of being like, I'm untouchable. I really am looking forward to seeing the repercussions of Will tapping into those powers. Because I'm sure
Um,
obviously Vecna will know. And I think that's going to change the game a little bit. And I like that. I
yeah.
like that. I'm excited to see like how Vecna reacts to being like, oh, I underestimated him. I like that.
Oh, one other thing that's crazy is like, what the fuck's going on with Max?
Oh, I have
So
an idea. I have an idea what's going on with Max. So they're stuck in like a construct of Vecna's mind. Like they're stuck in a memory of Vecna's.
okay,
And so it's like, I don't know if you ever watched Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
maybe.
It's similar but different. But in that movie, there's basically a company that you can hire to erase memories. Say you had a bad breakup. You want to get rid of that person from your mind forever. This company will come and do that. It happens rashly to two people, and through like love they keep going back into old memories, and as they're getting erased they find each other and realize like what they're doing, like what's happening, like, oh, I hired this person to erase him, why did I do this, like, and basically they're traveling through memories in their brain. It's not like happening in real life, it's just memories they're going into.
Mhm.
And that's like very much what this Vecna stuff is like, because so many people have messaged me, and I'm not joking, being like, do you think they're going to introduce time travel in these last set of episodes? I was like, no. I love time travel stuff. Time travel is like one of the one things you can be like, this thing has time travel, and it's like an immediate me watch, but it's
Yeah,
too late in the game
definitely too
to
late in the
introduce
game.
time travel.
Yeah,
And the only thing it would do would undo things. And the way the Duffer Brothers have talked about the ending or like this final season, I don't think they want anything they've built to be undone or
mhm.
to be like less than, they've been very vocal that the D&D theory where at the end it's just the kids playing a D&D game and that's all this ever was.
Exactly.
They're like, no, that ending would suck. They're
That'd
like,
be
oh yes,
such a fucking
everything that
I
happened was worthless.
it
Cool,
was just
great,
the game.
awesome. That would be terrible. That'd be the worst ending.
But
That'd be so disappointing.
we've had too many new characters come into this. I mean, like, look at Dr. K.
Yeah, how would that
You
make
know,
sense?
that wouldn't like there couldn't be all these or like the little kids. Like, there's no little kid
Yeah,
card in Dungeons and Dragons.
and
You
you're
know,
not
like,
thinking of that when you're 10.
yeah,
Like that's it. That theory is wild. So that's not happening. That's great. That's awesome. And even when Max is talking with Holly's like, oh, time travel. Cause like everyone like, oh, Wrinkle in Time, they're gonna time travel. It's like, no, I think the A Wrinkle in Time stuff is the stuff happening in the memories. And Max explicitly saying, no, it's not time travel. I was just traveling through his memories. Like, I'm not traversing time, I'm just going through his memories that go through time. It's not, like, and once I explain that, people are like, oh yeah, you're right, I get it, yeah. And people brought up like the Einstein Rosen bridge because that's how they kind of explain time travel in Endgame a little bit. But you can also use Einstein Rosen bridges, black holes, to travel parallel universes. Guess what this whole show is about? A
parallel
parallel
universe.
universe.
Yeah,
So it's like, guys, it's not time travel. And if they do
yeah,
time travel, I will eat my words and I'll probably hate it. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But I
yeah.
think so. Episode 6 is called Escape from Camazotz, which Camazotz is a thing from Wrinkle in Time. It's what they talked about, Holly and Max. And I think it's going to be a massive thing of them escaping from this mind prison, Holly and Max together. I think them unearthing and going through Vecna / Henry / One's memories will also help them find another kind of key into defeating him, or at least something that maybe will weaken him mentally, kind of similar to what 11 did in season 3 with Billy. He went into or she went into his memories, found that thing with her mom, and that kind of helped turn him back and make that sacrifice play and stuff like that. I think that's probably going to be a key factor into it.
Yeah.
And my call is that's going to be like the best episode of the season. Is going to be episode 6, directed by Sean Levy. Sean Levy directed episode 4 of season 4, Dear Billy, which still is my favorite episode of the entire series.
There was like nothing new really introduced as far as like I would like to see a new, like a higher tier Demigorgon or like just something that
Mm.
like is like the one be all. Like Vecna we think is like, in charge of all this, but like what if there's something that is like way more powerful comes to light and that's like the massive boss, you know, at the very end or something.
I think it might be the Mind Flayer. I think the Mind Flayer might be the actual big boss, and Vecna's
Yeah.
kind of trying to outdo him or something. I don't know. It's weird because
Yeah.
he kind of controls him. They haven't established that, and I'm
Mhm.
interested to see how that kind of, because they said in, we're finally going to realize like what exactly the Upside Down is, which is cool. Like we don't really have any idea what it actually is other than a
Yeah.
parallel dimension. How'd you feel about 8 coming back from the notorious Scott the Levin episode? I think it was important to bring 8 back because after like all the Henry stuff got revealed and him killing all
Yeah.
the other, like I feel like that would have been a massive plot hole if they left her out.
Yeah.
Uh they needed to close that loop because I feel
Mhm.
like Henry would be after her too, but it is wild that she was used as kind of like a 11 kryptonite in a prison.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
The whole Dr. K stuff that is like
Hmm.
going on is wild. I just don't know like where this is gonna go. You know, because like
Oh, I have no idea. Yeah,
I have
either.
I just have more questions right now than like answers, you know.
I definitely think there's going to be a massive revelation with Dr. K's character of how she's connected to someone or something. I hope Paul Reiser's character comes back because I don't think he's dead after season 4. I just know the government came in and, you know, took him
That's what I'm
away or
saying.
whatever. The government involvement this season feels very much kind of like the Russia stuff.
Mhm.
There's like, it's like there's a very like militarized overtone with this season, which is the kind of the new thing, I guess. And I'm interested to see where it goes because like I really don't know. Like the fact that they covered up the rift and they're like, oh yeah, it was an earthquake, and just want to know what their end game is. Like that one government person, military person who was also hunting for 11 in season 4, like he seems to want her dead, but Dr. K seems to want her for something bigger. Obviously not to kill her, but to utilize her powers for something.
Like
And I
tester. Yeah.
or something. Yeah, yeah, kinda similar to what they did with 8. It does not seem like she wants to kill her at all. Like, she wants to,
Mhm.
like, use her for something, and I wanna know what that is.
Yeah,
I
that's
want
why I feel like she's kinda like part of something with the under the upside down world. I feel like we're gonna find out a lot more about her. That's why I'm saying, like, I would love to have seen, like, a new Vecna or something,
monster or
and
something.
maybe she becomes that, you know, who knows? Maybe she is
Yeah,
in
who
control
knows?
of maybe she's in, like, control of Vecna, but, like, this is her form in the regular world. I don't know, dude. I've got so many like questions. Like my brain could sit here for like the next 24 hours and be like, but this like just the board with like the connecting dots. And
Yes.
like at they all meet in the middle and there's a question mark. Like so what happened with Russia?
That is one question I have, like,
They
what
were
did happen
doing
with Russia? You're right.
yeah, they were doing it seems like they were doing the stuff in Russia that America's doing now. And it's kind of crazy if you think about it in this context as far as like our current climate, right?
Yeah.
Because like it kind of follows it. Everybody's like, we're doing what Russia kind of does in a sense. And it's like kind of portraying that through the maybe it could be like a back way that they were writing the story. It just kind of like could work out that way to where like 3 years ago when this one came out, you were kind of in the similar climate. Russia was breaking into the upside down world as well, right?
Yeah, they were, like,
They
creating a gate.
they
Well,
they
that
made
was
like
the
the
big
machine.
that was the big thing in season 3, was using it to create a gate. And in season 4, it was just weird because they had part of the Mind Flayer in that weird containment thing, and then they had just had Demogorgons, like, randomly.
Yeah.
They never really explained, like, why or how or I mean, how, I'm sure they just got it from the gate and stuff, but, like, they never really
How?
explained why. Yeah, like, why did they care so much about this? Like, and I do hope because again, the Duffers have talked about tying up loose ends, so I do hope they kind of explain
Yeah.
that, like, of what happened with Russia, what were they doing? Like, it would be wild if, like, the government was actually tied into that. Yeah,
And
that's a good thought. I like
they
that
they were
thought.
literally just it seemed like they were just using the Demogorgons as like a punishment for the
Show.
gulag.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah, yeah.
what is the purpose here? You know, like you're doing
I
all
don't know.
this just for the gulag? Like, I mean, I guess that
It's
would be
like
like the most Russian thing to do. Like,
yeah,
no,
it's like
there's no big
gladiator
thing.
war games. Yeah.
There's no big thing to it. They just rip humans apart and Yeah,
Woo.
Russia.
The one thing I want to end on with the Stranger Things stuff is season 5 Death Watch. All right. Who do you think is biting the dust in these last few episodes?
I could see Will sacrificing himself for like something insane to happen. I would be heartbroken if it was Dustin. I'm unsure about Max.
I feel like if they would have killed her, they would have killed her. That's my thing with
Yeah.
Max.
Yeah, because reintroducing her at this point, not reintroducing her, but giving her a layer in the story that goes
Yes.
beyond being in coma. I think my big one's gonna be Will. Like Will's gonna do something outlandish. 11 might die. I wouldn't be surprised if 11 died, but I could see her going out in an epic battle too. I don't know though because she has been developing her skills, like jumping over that fence. That
Yeah.
was
Jedi
epic,
training.
dude. And like, they did he tell her that she broke the record? I
No,
don't know.
she kept it from her.
Yeah, they kept it. So fucked up. But
I mean, I understood that. At first, I was like, you're just doing the same thing you did in like season 3. But then he had that conversation with Joyce, and I was like, that's character growth. I understand it. You know, him being like, I will need her. We will need her when the time comes. But
yeah.
I need her to make it to that time. So I don't want her risking her life on any of this stupid shit. And I was
Mhm.
like, I respect that. I was like, that is a smart character choice. I was like,
Yeah.
big ups to that. And it's the same thing with Hopper as I feel with Max. I feel like they just would have killed him if they were going to kill him in season 3. So I think he's safe. I think Max is safe. I think either Will or 11, I think one of them will have to like go be the dweller of the upside down, and to save the day and to save the world, they need to be the one to hold it together and keep it separate from Earth or something
The
like that.
upside down Slayer.
Yeah, like I feel like one of them might have to make
Mhm.
that sacrifice where it's they don't die, but they have to be in solitude in this parallel dimension from everyone they love. And it's kind
Yeah.
of like dying, but like worse because you know they're alive, but you can't, communicate with them.
Yeah.
I think that might happen for sure. My big worries for death are Dustin, especially the way he's acting this season, which is very valid. Grief does a lot to a person, and the way he's acting makes a lot of sense. It just breaks my heart,
Mhm.
to be honest. And I think Joyce, the way she's been acting in season 5, I'm like, she's jumped in front of a lot of Demogorgons, and it has me worried.
Yeah, dude,
It
she's
has me real worried.
exactly what you're saying. It's just like she is like on another level, it seems like this season. Of like her intensity as a character has like skyrocketed. Too many demigorgons for me to be and they haven't killed her.
Well, I think the first one in the barn was Will controlling or like altering the mind of the Demigorgon without him
Yeah.
realizing. Because when that moment happened, I was like, oh, can he control them? And then when Mike
Yeah.
brought it up, I was like, oh, they're setting this up. Cool, 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 cool. That was a cool seed. All right, awesome. So I think the only reason she is alive is because of Will, or else she would be dead or at least gravely injured, like the Wheeler parents.
Yeah.
Which so many people were like, I can't believe they didn't kill him. And I was like, the Demogorgons don't care about killing people. They are just going, if they see you incapacitated, they're not checking if you're breathing. They're just like, I did my job. I got the kid I wanted. Bye. Like
Yeah.
they're not there to double tap.
It's
They're
very
there to do their
telltale
job.
in the very beginning of the first episode, like what their job is.
2 other people I think are possibilities. I think 8 might die in this final battle for sure. It's obviously a safe bet of her being she's not a new character, but like a new old character being
Yeah.
reintroduced after seasons. I think that's a safe bet, probably. And one that would absolutely break my heart. Someone brought up this theory and it's stuck in my mind as Max is escaping and Lucas is it's shown in trailers he's like protecting her lifeless coma body in the real world, is that as she comes back and she's like getting that moment to reunite with Lucas,
Mhm.
Lucas dies in order for her to get back. And that would just be like knife in the heart, twist it. Like you can't lie. That would be effective. That would sure
Yeah,
be effective. And someone said that, and I'm like, oh, that's
I could
brutal.
see it
But
happening too, which is
that would be
like,
good. I
I'm
know.
like ready for this, but I'm not. It's
I know.
always tough when a show you love is like, it's the last season,
I know.
and we waited so long for it. It is wild because I do feel like season one started like last year. You know what I mean? Like, even though it's been so
Yeah.
long, like it's
10
such
years.
I get a nostalgic vibe from Stranger Things for some reason, and I don't get that from many TV shows at all, even the ones I love. It kind of is based like, majority like what, the 80s, so it kind of is nostalgic to me just based on the surroundings. And
Sean, thank you so much for doing this, man. This is
yeah,
awesome.
dude, good times.
Glad we finally got to make it happen. Before we get out of here, let the people know what you got going on, where they can find you, what Eye of the Breather is up to.
We have it recently announced our comeback. We did it by announcing a show. So we have a show on the 20th in Chicago. We have also been working on some new material, which we're going to get back into the forefront once the show's over. We have some other stuff in the works for next summer, but I don't want to give timelines on anything, but I would like to see some new music start coming out probably around springtime. We're also everywhere there's social media except for TikTok. I don't know if we'll do one of those, but I feel like I owe it to our fans because I tried to do the COVID comeback and COVID said no and slapped us in the face. And I just had to take a step back for a little bit. It's not going to be rushed. So I do apologize for people that want stuff immediately, but I'd much rather put out very quality product than, we got to get some stuff out. I'm excited. And I appreciate you having me on. And
We'll support Eye of the Breather. I'll link all their links down below so you can go click it.
yeah,
If you want to support the podcast, go to metalcorenerds.com. All our links there in one easy place. If you want to follow me on my personal account, it's just Sean Xma on Instagram and Twitter. And until next time, see you later, nerds.